Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're going to talk about tragedy of dumb. Smart appliances, meaning we have been sold smart appliances but in real they are dumb. So let's dive deep into it. So what was the dream? Be mindful. Technology to make things smart is very ancient, like as ancient as 1970. But the sensors and the equipments and the compute power was super duper expensive. That's why it was always a dream that our homes can be as smart as these things. Basically, what we were sold as that you're gonna get industrial grade SCADA systems in your homes and your tools. Now, of course, you does not need to know what exactly a SCADA system is. Think in this way, this is how our factories run. That's the sole reason we can even mass produce anything, because we figured out SCADA system. All your power plants, almost anything of value generally has a SCADA system. And that was the whole point. SCADA system is a sort of automation tool that allows you to do, if you are doing it, build it right, it can literally run the plant for you. And it also has certain sort of wisdom. And if you have watched the Chernobyl, that's what they were talking about. SCADA system did warn. It's like, bro, no. So that's the whole point. And programmable logic controllers. This is the key selling point of modern technology. Is like we have logic controllers that are so cheap that we don't even care about it. So it will have very good level of home automation. Like we will be properly able to automate everything that normal factories or commercial enterprises can do. That will be coming to our home, and things will last much longer. Much longer, because again, if you can, the primary reason for SCADA systems are not actually to increase efficiency, it's mainly to make sure that runtime is high. How do you make sure your runtime is high? You schedule proper maintenance. And how do you schedule maintenance? Observe everything, so you know when this equipment is like, that motor is vibrating too much, its bearing is about to go poof. So before it goes poof, you're like, hey, how about we fix things up? That's the whole point. Our equipments, if they're run by a proper industrial grade SCADA system, it's supposed to last much longer, exponentially longer. That was the dream anyway. And it's supposed to tell us what's wrong before it's too expensive. Meaning, that's the whole point of any automation, where it's like, hey, this will go bad. How about you fix it before it goes bad? Like, for example, if your air condition reaches a point where it's like, dude, if I have to force to do myself something, it will cause more harm, then it should supposed to tell you, hey, I'm in a bad position, fix me before it becomes bad. That was the dream. We're gonna have like full minority report, whereas like we're gonna see things, we're gonna analyze things, and SCADA system is taking care of all of this. At least that was the dream. And I'm reasonably sure all of you must have understood that we really did not get anything close to it. Even though we got the smart tag on everything and smart tax, we have to pay more money for smart things. So that was the dream. Now, what should have been there? Like, I want to give certain examples. First example, which is super easy, water heater. And we have a smart water heater, but here's the deal. Are they really smart? Because here's the deal. What a smart water heater that is actually smart will look like? Well, it could have multi-sensors. Of course, that's the first thing. That's the whole thing that has changed. Sensors are now pennies, meaning all these sensors you can buy, especially if you're buying from a company's perspective, you will buy minimum 1,000 of them. And prices on DigiKey is like cheap. So you can have multiple sensors, and you can have sensors on the tank, you can have sensors outside of the tank, and you can have basically TDS sensors, this sort of puppy, water in and out temperature sensors, like this puppy. Then you can have watt meter, basically volt and amp meters, and calculating all of that. Now here's the deal. Okay, let's say you did that, right? You did all of this. What's the point of it? Right? Let's say you did that, and there could be some chance that some of these things are already there in so-called smart devices. Then what's the point? Well, point is they are not done properly. You're supposed to get warning before something bad happens. For example, if your elements have scale buildup, for example, what's the primary reason of water heater failure? Is the scale buildup. That's it. Like, other than this, there is nothing that inherently causes harm, unless you're talking about gas-fired system, but that's a different thing. In electrical system, other than this scale buildup, there should not be anything that should cause harm. How does it cause harm? Because there is a wire. That wire has a melting temperature, meaning if you keep putting 1 kilowatt of energy into it, it has to be quote unquote cooled by water. Only then it will remain at fixed temperature and properly work. That's awesome. But when you have scale buildup, it's like putting an insulator jacket that slowly over time as in like every few cycles, it starts to increase the temperature. The core wire starts to overheat, and that's how it gets broken, because this system is 100% efficient. Heater is 100% efficient. So why the heck we have failure? It's not even a moving part. It's a simple thing. Why do we have failure? That's the primary reason. Because of the scale buildup, it's causing as an insulator. That not only causes harm to the coil itself, it also reduces your efficiency, meaning now you have to expend more megajoule energy into this to heat up the water to the same temperature delta. Meaning if everything is fine, inlet water is 20 degrees Celsius, outlet temperature is 50 degrees Celsius, everything is fine. That's, let's say you designed the system for 30-degree temperature delta with X amount of power in X amount of time. That's awesome. But if you have scale buildup, it will not work like it's like the time will become longer. Energy consumed, basically unit energy consumed would be higher, and that will give you a clear warning. Hey, your coils, they're not working, man, clean it. Now here's the, what can we do? Let's say this happened. Let's say you are in a position where you have water that is hard and this happened. What can you do? Super easy. Pull this out, put it in vinegar. It's not even a magic technology, man. It's a simple thing. We can do that. We know the technology. We have kitchens. We can take care of it. This will allow us to take care of so many heating elements. That's the primary reason world consumes so much heating elements, because nobody has the way of detecting, hey, this is actually reaching a point where it's like we really need to clean it. And it can be done. All you need to know is like create a what we call lookup table in your microprocessor. Is just a small graph data where it's like, hey, input temperature should be this much temperature delta in distilled water, this much temperature delta in salty water. It should be in between. And if it's taking longer than that, the data is offset. Now it will trigger an alert. And it can even look at it. That's why I said multiple sensors has to be there. You cannot just have one sensor. And these sensors are what we call single wire sensor, DAL, Dallas, basically 18B20. That's the sensor. Basically, it sends, you can chain up to like, I think 250 devices on one chain. So you can have like a ring spiral going around it. Like, why do you want spiral? So you can detect how hot the water is. If you use one sensor, you get average rating. If you have a spiral around it, you will see where the water is. If you heat from bottom, that's how wall-based water heater works. The hot water will go on top and you'll see it. Like you can actually see real world data. It's like, hey, water has heated to this much, water has data. Like it's not just guess data based on tank. It's like real world data. Using that, you can actually have a precise lookup table where it's like, which is the good range, which is the yellow range, which is the red range. So this will allow your elements to last exponentially longer. Then we have other aspect also. For example, your anode rod, what is the another thing that fails is the chassis itself, basically the container itself. Why does it fail? Salts. Salts and heat with water equals bye-bye metal. So how do we save it? Well, we don't. We sacrifice a metal. We call it anode rod. So this is how your new anode rod should look, and this is will be what it has been sacrificed. So there is technology that allows you to detect whether this is like consumed or not. That's how industrial systems work. Those sensors are super easy. Heck, you can easily detect it like if a rod is working this much and temperature of water is going this much, but your wall test sensor is like not working as it's supposed to, you can figure out whether the scaling is on the cylinder itself or not. You can have this much scale. So it's not a laughing matter. You can have seriously large amount of scale buildup and it can reduce your capacity. Like your 30-liter tank could become, let's say 28-liter tank. Yes, I'm not even exaggerating, that has happened. So we should be able to detect whether it's like, hey, the anode rod, it's being sacrificed, and that should give you a warning. Hey, rather than sacrificing your whole tank, just sacrifice the sacrificial rod. Actual history we can collect. We can have actionable data. It's like, hey, replace the rod, clean the heating elements. Your equipment will last much longer. You will have less energy expenditure. Why? Higher efficiency. The more efficient something is, the longer it lasts. So this is just water heater, and yet we have nothing like this. Like I genuinely don't even know other than, oh, I can remotely turn it on or off using Wi-Fi. Somehow, for some reason we want that rather than like actually having actionable data. We got that. This is how a water heater, a simple water heater could have been fixed. All these sensors that I'm telling you would cost you even a lot of them. Like you have multiple sensors in each line, input and output. It will barely cost 2 Raspberry Pis for us. For companies, it will be like chump change. Even though we are paying the premium, we are not getting anything in return. So then we come to another example, heat pumps. Now heat pump is more important, like idiotically important. How important? It is the backbone of our air conditioning unit, refrigeration unit, and heater units. And why you're like, why heaters? Well, it's a heat pump. That's why you use a heater, because a normal heater is only 100% efficient. A heat pump, depending on your circumstances, could be easily more than 100%. That's why we want. It basically sucks heat from outside and dumps it into your fluid. Nowadays, basically, heat pump water heaters are becoming very, very common. And that's the primary reason for it. It's like, hey, 100% is good. More than 100% is even gooder. So we are relying, our whole civilization is relying on these puppy working properly. So these things are complex. Let that be very clear. It's not a easy thing. A water heater is an easy thing. This is complex. How complex? Well, it has two heat exchangers, bare minimum. It has fans, bare minimum one, and it generally could be more than that if you are talking about any competent system, split AC system, multiple fans. It has motors, not one, motors. It could have multiple motor, one compressor at least. It would have filters. It would have louvers, basically things that go like this, and then it has a refrigerant. So it's a complex item. What does complex item need? It needs data where it can actually tell you, it's like, this is what's working, this is what's not working, this is what should I do, or this is what should I tell to the owner to ask him to, hey, this exactly is the fault, please call a technician to fix it. Like, imagine if we really designed it the same way we design an industrial system, we should have this sense ability, instead of your mobile phone just doing basic number, it's like, hey, what is the coefficient of performance? Now that number matters the most because that describes how much your bill would be. You want COP as high as 3 or 4, let's say. Because again, I'm living in India, the outside temperature is brutal. That's why our COPs are lower. In generally, if you are in North American places, your COP should be more than that. Our outdoor temperature is a bit hot. It easily reaches 50 degrees Celsius. So yes, 50 degrees Celsius. So our COPs are a bit lower. But if you can see it, and you randomly start noticing dips into it, and again you are plotting all the data year over year, month over month, you'll know a very clear sign, hey, something is wrong. If my COP's supposed to be this much and it's going exponentially lower, you will know it. And when to clean the filters, that's the most critical aspect. This is the filter that like I have air condition here, that is from Blue Star, and I remove it, pull out the filter and clean it. But here's the deal, it's not fixed. Now again, you can create a system where it's like, hey, I have a routine, every month I clean it. That sounds good, but nobody wants to do it. Heck, I don't want to do it. Even though I know it's important, I don't want to do it. Nobody wants to do it. So what would be a better system? Better system would be to actually have a sensor to tell you, it's like, hey, I'm running the motor, but motor is like either consuming too much energy or not consuming enough energy. And the airflow sensors are saying something is off. And air temperature sensors, which are super cheap, is like, hey, input and output temperatures are not changing as much. So airflow is less. Like, you can easily have data and have enough data sets to be damn sure whether the filter is dirty or not. And it will not require magical technology. I'm not talking about anything higher than Raspberry Pi. And you can just clean out the system. And this also solves you the issue where it's like unnecessary maintenance won't be there. It's like you do not want to touch things unless it needs to be done. So if you are in a, let's say, clean room, your air condition that is on the inside part, that's completely clean. It's like, hey, filters are like, hey bro, we good. But like the outside part, let's say that's also in a clean area, awesome, we good. But you are in, let's say, cooking places specifically, places where have exposure to grease, the outside units gets corroded, they get covered brutally. In those sort of things, you need to know, 1 month cleaning cycle may not work. You may be like, hey, every week we have to do it, our COP goes down. And again, that will not only save money, it will also save the equipment, it will also save everything. So it will also tell you that this is the weirdest thing, that so far we have so many smart systems that none of them have actual sensors where it's like, I'm looking into it, compressors has been running for this long, input and output temperature is this much, all data should be, why the heck my pressure is not high? Gas is leaking. So it can just trigger an alert before it fries the compressor, where it's like, hey, gas leak. So it gives you a message, gas freaking leak. Then you give that message to the basically person, like technician, and technician is like, okay, which is the model? Okay, this model, this is the gas used. Or heck, the message it can say like, because there are way too many gases. So it will like, please bring R104 or R whatever have you. All those things could be done. Super fast servicing. And be mindful, this is important. This is not a joke. This is not like, haha. It's like, it's important. It's a backbone of our life. It has to work. It has to be efficient. So we don't go bankrupt or cooking the planet unnecessarily. But we don't have, even though we have smart, even though you pay for smart, do you get anything of this caliber? Like, air sensors are expensive. Yeah, in 1970, when we started to introduce what we call fuel injector, now it's jump change. So now let's talk about smart homes. Now, this idea that you're gonna have a lot of smart devices and all of them will be controlled in a household, and then you're gonna have amazing security, everything will be automated, you don't have to think about things. And unfortunately, entire humanity, even though this is a recent event, as recent as 2010, forgot about something that known as cybersecurity. Like this is genuinely shocking to me, is that the whole world forgot that cyber security is not optional, it's compulsory to like just, and we started to give basic things like your Roomba to your fridge to your oven to your air cleaner to air filters to air condition calling home ability, meaning not only they can be in local network, they actually have the ability to call, as in they will use your Wi-Fi and utilize internet and go into somewhere. That's very scary ability for a tiny chip. Now, why the heck tiny chip matters? Here's the deal. M1 chip is very small, but here's the deal. They're not going to give you M1 chip on your freaking light bulb or your air condition. It's cost-wise, it does not make sense. So fundamentally, they use the cheapest equipment possible. Consequence is the cheapest equipment possible. So fundamentally, it's not secure. It's not even secure by current standard, let alone future standard. And these things are not designed to be replaced every 2 days or every 2 years. Many times your air condition could be there for like 10 years easily. So in those sort of scenario, you will have fundamentally horrible security, which is not even a security, it's just like hope and prayers kind of thing. And entire humanity forgot about this. It's like even though we had what we call industrial revolution and automation, in that revolution we figured out very early on that wired communication is much better. Like if you have to choose radio link or basically wirelink, choose wirelink. To give you a context how easy it is, you may be like, hey, what if I have hundreds of light bulbs and hundreds of fans and all that? Here's the deal. Have you heard of power line communication? We had that technology, ancient technology. It's like we figured it out long ago. And if you only need to transfer low bits of information, not just like high bit rate 4K video, I'm looking kilobits per second, it's more than good enough. More than good enough. You don't even have to do rewiring. Everything can communicate. And then when everything is wired, properly wired, then you can send it into a controller hub. That controller could be a basic PC. At this point in time, you have some security. A basic PC could do some analysis where it's like, hey, why the heck all my home appliances which supposed to refresh at let's say 1 hertz is refreshing at like as quickly as it can do. It's sending way out request. There is a good chance now it has been compromised and is taking part in what we call DDoS attack. I'm not making this up. This has happened multiple times. So this is one of those things that's like you need a basic PC to even have an attempt where it's like, hey, I have a good powerful Raspberry Pi, and then of course in this design you should be able to upgrade it once or twice at least, and software wise is far more flexible. You can keep updating the algorithms to make it more resilient. Will it be perfect? Hell no, but at least it has some starting chance. Rather than relying on your equipment directly having the ability to call home, all the equipment should be coagulated, put into a central hub. The hub should be secure one. Now it actually makes cost-effective sense, and then it's like everything is fine. Now you can have basic security and updates. So you do not just have a basic as a open door where it's like, somebody just tried to try. I'm genuinely shocked how many security camera are just open, just like lol. Not even making it up, it's just lol. There is websites where you can go and see, and it's like you will be shocked how many things you can just see. Just see people's inside bedrooms. Just see. Not making it up. It's like entire humanity forgot. It's like there should be something cybersecurity. If you have a system like this, at least it configure it's like my owners are in the house. Why the heck my security camera is being accessed when the owner is itself in the Wi-Fi network? So that's why like you need all the things to be wired so nobody can snoop attack next to your house. You don't even know, everybody is sleeping in your house, somebody just fly a drone near to you, dropped something, slowly snooped all the Wi-Fi packets and F the security. Like this at least gives you some probability of survival. And we all forgot about it. And then we comes to the more bitter aspect of it, is that we got so numb to rights violation, meaning these sort of devices, not one story, multiple stories are there where government just used it. Government is like, hey, I want it. It's like, do you have a restaurant? No, but I want it. And then dumb people started to like, oh, but if you don't have anything to hide, it's like, then walk around naked, you have nothing to hide. It's like, what the hell? Like we fought for freedom and then these people are like, hey, daddy, take away my freedom. And it's like, it's scary. It's like companies can just shut down your household because you said a naughty word. What the hell? This has become, this is the part what we call death by a thousand cut. It has happened so slowly, as in like from 2010, that we just got numb to it. Oh, your this security camera company is like lolling your system. This security camera company is lolling. It's like we don't even care about it anymore, which is genuinely scary. So that's the tragedy of the smart home also. It's like air conditions, water heaters, these are just a simple example. This is the most grand example of our stupidity. Then we come to the actual tragedy aspect of it. It's like everybody just have that itch on their ass where they're like, what if I spy on everyone? What if Google is like, you know what if I read every single email? Apple is like, what if I read everything? What if I reach, and then we'll justify it by saying, oh no, we're gonna detect some naughty content in your phone and then we're gonna alert the police. It's like, how about you don't? How about you don't? Like, and this is one thing that you have to understand. We have learned this the hard way, that anytime people give up freedom for security, they end up with neither. Trust me, we have learned this the hard way, as in bloodbath kind of way. So there is no need to repeat it again and again. So this whole itch that every company, every corporation, every country just has this itch where it's like, what if I spy on everyone? It's like, okay, let's just say you are stupid enough to actually do it. Let's say you are stupid enough to actually have a Samsung smart fridge that is actually reporting home everything, the webcam, everything is just active all the time. It's like, after that, it's like, what? What after that? It's like, the question is why? Let's say you collected all this data. It's like, it's not valuable. Like, you may think it's valuable, it's not valuable. Like, we have real world experience of USSR. They were doing this, like, because again, USSR population was huge. They literally had their own people, and these people were randomly like telling on people, or most of the time if they wanted someone's wife, they are like, hey, this guy, poof, this guy. It said something naughty against basically the Stalin, the great Stalin, and then just guy was poofed. And I'm not joking, the number bare minimum from USSR is 100,000. Now, India is a large population country. China is a large population country. Every other nation is tiny compared to these two nations. USSR were tiny. So if they have pushed 100,000 people, that's gruesome. That's beyond gruesome. And it's like, what did they gain out of it? Like, they did that. Like, that's a fact. They did it. What did they gain out of it? Like, they successfully steal US secrets. What did they gain out of it? Like, USA is still here and USSR disappeared. So what happened is the one thing that people don't understand. It's like, if you waste your time on spying, you are wasting your time on spying. There is nothing like, why the heck USSR space shuttle looks like a copy of, because it is a copy of it. They never spent time on, hey, what if we actually develop it? What if we did actually all of those things? Why the heck we don't have any car companies? Why the heck we don't have any computer companies? Because you spend more time on spying rather than actually developing things. And once this era of what we call doubt starts to happen, where everybody is scared, oh, somebody's recording me, and yes, recordings back in the day, they were doing it. Recordings and all that, everybody's scared. Nobody's like free enough to think. Nobody is free ever to criticize. Nobody is able to actually build anything. And consequence, these three people, all three were powerful people, no discussion about that. But somehow only one of them had that itch in their ass where it's like, I'm gonna spy on 100. Which person died as a miserable individual physically? And I'm not giving it how history treats them. Why? Spying is wasteful. Like, arrest warrant, it's actually a two-way street. It actually saves police wasting time. It's like, what if we spy on everyone? It's like, there won't be a benefit of it. And like CCP, Chinese Communist Party, is doing the same thing. Like, they have security camera everywhere. And here's the deal, thousands of kids get missing in their own national repository, and nobody even knows it is. Like, why do you have so many security cameras then? Like, it's scary, like truly scary. I saw, like, you can see it, like, you can just Google it and see it. It's like some person was walking and just looked at a kid, it's like, yeet the kid. It was not planned, it was not calculated, it was just yeet. And again, when parents stopped it, it's like the person walked away. So this is one of those things. And this smart tool, the ecosystem, is like, what if everybody spies on everybody? It's like, it's the worst thing you can do. Not only it's stupid, it's wasteful. And all we got in return, like, okay, let's say we did this, right? Security, and you give up freedom for security. Did we got security? No, we got dumb devices which are far more fragile, meaning if the server on other end blows up, as in like your Samsung fridge, if a server in Korea goes boom, yeah, your fridge stops working, and it's a slave device. Like, literally it has to call home in order to work. Not even joking, that's a thing now. So fundamentally, nobody benefits from this, and that is truly tragic. It's like, that's the part that hurts me. It's like, we are so excited about, like, what if we spy on everybody? It's like, think about what you are asking. Think about what will the benefit of it. It's like, yeah, I'm spying on everyone just to harm everyone. Like, there is nothing good comes out of it. Nothing good. And it's like, you built a destroyer. Here's the problem with that. You just built a destroyer. It destroys everything. And eventually, destroys your power base. Meaning, this person is like, what if I poof all the doctors? It's like, sir, you're gonna fall sick at some point. No, what if I poof all the doctors? It's like, That's the same thing. Same every time. Same happened in basically North Korea, and same is happening in CCP. It will take longer because it's a slow process of poofing people, enough people, and then to rot to hell. That is a long road, but it does happen, and we are not learning from it. That's the sad part of it. History is clear. History is clear. There is no need for private companies to like, what if I spy on what they are putting in their fridge? It's like, it will not help you. It will not help you even the slightest. You will think it helps you, but it will not. And all you will do is piss off people or make people numb. If people become numb, they become dumb. They become dumb, you lose. So that's the tragedy of it. It's like nobody reads history. It's like we did this. Humanity did this sort of stupid things, and the outcome was 100% useless. Only death and destruction came from it, and we are like, what if I spy on it? It's useless. So this was my presentation on basically tragedy of smart homes. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please leave the like button, share it amongst a friend. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.